Good morning and good evening, everybody watching us here today. I'm just going to make sure that we're all live and everything is flowing nicely. There we are. Always interesting seeing yourself back on camera, isn't it? A wonderful, happy Tuesday to everybody. I am super excited about my guest today. She's joining us all the way from New Zealand. I have been super excited about today's live because the energy that Mary brings to everything that she does is just contagious. I've been watching her videos and reading all about her, and she has an extremely important message there. Mary recently joined the Timely team as the Chief People Inclusion Officer, the first role of its kind at an executive level within New Zealand, a role with a powerful message to how we as business owners should consider inclusion and respect at the heart of our businesses. Mary's goal is to progress the business case for workplace inclusion, ensuring people have equal access to opportunities and resources. Mary delivers these vital messages in a positive and educational manner, helping to give us all the deeper understanding and tools we so vitally need to move forward, running our businesses in a more inclusive and diverse manner. This week, Mary's graced the pages of New Zealand's Women's Weekly. I've seen the article. It's absolutely fabulous. And I will attempt to say this calmly, she's met Oprah. Eek! More about that coming up. But first, a huge welcome to Mary. A massive thank you for joining us. And hello over there in New Zealand.
Hi, Holly. What an introduction. Thank you so much. It's so lovely to see you. I have been excited from the moment I learned about Holly Power, connected with Timely, to talk to you, and today it's arrived. So it's great to be here with you.
We're kind of having a little bit of a fan session here, aren't we?
We are, yeah. It's a reciprocal fan moment. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. First of all, let's get started because we've only got a short window of time, and I'm pretty sure that you and I, Mary, could chat for about 15 hours straight. So, so let's get started. Let's first of all talk about your exciting new role within Timely as the Chief Inclusion Officer. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah. Look, I've been so fortunate having this opportunity to link up with Timely. As you said, it's the first role of its kind in New Zealand. So with that said, it's clear that the people that work at Timely matter to Timely. And it is a traditional human resources and employee relations related role. It also has a unique remit to it, and that is obviously both cultivating the culture that we have here at Timely. It's also about telling our employer brand story to our community, like today. So our absolute, and I know you know and adore him just like I do, our absolutely amazing Chief Executive and co-founder Ryan Baker has done, huge love for him, has done an extremely fabulous job of doing this so far, particularly I think during the heat of the COVID-19 chaos last year. And he's trusted me with sharing some of that responsibility. So, the values and culture at Timely align with, so many of mine. So my mandate is really to follow my passion around continuing to build workplaces, and this particular workplace culture where everyone can bring their whole selves to work, and a place where people of all backgrounds are empowered and can contribute authentically and genuinely. And of course, the catch here is I love the hair and beauty industry. I've had a career in the media world and PR world before my HR career. So it's meant that I've been exposed to the glam world, so the good, bad, and the ugly. So ultimately, it's a dream job for me.
Absolutely. It is such a wonderful, beautiful, sparkly world. However, it can have an undertone of negativity, can't it? So a company like Timely that brings so much balance, wellness, and inclusion to the forefront of everything that we do is just so wonderful to be part of. And as we were just talking about, I love being part of the Timely family at the capacity I am, and I know how excited they were to have you on board. So Mary, what does diversity and inclusion look like in the modern day workplace?
Yeah, Diversity and inclusion in the workplace really starts with providing what I would say a safe and accepting environment for all people. You know, we are who we are, and simply put, Holly, people are people. But it is also more than that. I think it's also about enabling people to truly bring their individuality and their uniqueness to all that they do at work. You know, people feel empowered when they are offered to contribute. When organizations or people in them do this, they get the richness of and actually the depth to their outputs that might otherwise not have been there. So I think that's key. That's a key incentive and takeaway that I would give. That I would say.
The comment that you made earlier, you said about bringing your whole self to work, that really resonated with me. I think that probably resonates with a lot of people. And I think we've probably all maybe been somebody who doesn't bring our whole self to work, or seen somebody who doesn't bring them whole self to work. And that is such a key way of putting it, that we should 100% be authentically ourselves in our workspace as well as in our home space. And that's something
sorry to cut you off. Yeah, but you're absolutely right. And it is one of our values around bringing your true self to work. I mean, ultimately, why have a work version of Mary and a home version of Mary? I mean, if I could be that skilled, my God, the world would be a better place. But I mean, frankly, trying to be someone you're not in either one of those dimensions, I mean, what a waste of energy. I've worked in a previous life with organizations and people that have said that they've had to choose to switch their home off when they walk in the door. I mean, what a waste of time, effort, and energy, when that could be filled back up and funneled down the way to be who you want to be, you know, whatever that means, and bring that to work. And we'll love that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So for the sake of our audience here as salon owners, what does that look like in the salon right now? Diversity and inclusion. How should we be bringing that into our salons?
I mean, that's a great question too. Diversity and inclusion in the workplace is a journey that never ends, right? I must point that out. And the very first thing I would say to this is, when you do diversity and inclusion well, you'll do well because of it. It's as simple as that. And it is easier said than done than that. If it was easy, obviously, the whole world would be doing much better and we probably wouldn't be needing to have this conversation. For you and any salon owner out there, I suppose, no matter where you begin on this journey, to understand what good looks like in your salon and in your wider environment, as long as you've started the journey, boom, we're heading in the right direction. You know, some examples perhaps to consider for the salon vibe would be, you know, hiring salon staff, for example. As the owner of the salon, instead of making a decision on your own, think perhaps about bringing in a couple of people into the process. How you can celebrate various initiatives across the salon, whether you're in New Zealand, Australia, or the UK. You can cover a broad range of activities, you know, LGBTIQ+, gender, culture. These are what I would call easy wins. And also ensuring that if you have a safe and accepting environment, then maybe look at the practical accommodations you can make to bring diverse staff on board, even flexible working. I know that's probably a little bit tricky to do in a salon, but perhaps think outside of the square a little bit around that. Provide an opportunity for people to undertake personal activities, whether that's, you know, again, I'm going to be so bold to say, if you've got mums returning to work, do you have a quiet space where they can breastfeed or you know, breast pump the breast stuff happening, or a Muslim with a quiet space that they can go to pray during the day, and even unisex toilets. You know, I know that may raise the eyebrows of many, but, you know, push forward with the view to having a unisex bathroom. It is 2021. And beyond this, it's about bringing these minorities to the decision-making table, you know, listening to their insights and improving the way you want to operate will do you good. I promise you.
I think that maybe we sometimes don't understand how to do it properly, and maybe miss out on the opportunities to work with such wonderful people because we're unable to to put those processes into place and to understand them fully. So which practices and organisation values can we be looking at in our businesses to help build our workplace inclusion?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of values, if I can talk about Timely's, it's about fostering a culture of respect and open mind, and an open, having an open mind to the conversation. And just to go back on your point, yes, it can be scary. I get that. You can get pushback from your community and from suppliers, etc. I understand that salons would be faced with a difficult conversation, but actually trying and being purposeful in your approach to diversity and inclusion, I promise you, you may not get it right, but it's better than not doing anything at all. Sitting still and not addressing it and taking it under your wing, that is not good. But if I can talk about Timely, it's not enough to stick values on the wall and just say, boom, that's what we do. This is happening. We don't do that. It's about self-evaluation. It's about reflecting. At Timely, our values are really based on our why and the foundation in which we make our decisions. Customers are our sun, for example, is one of our values. We obsess. And I know Ryan's talked about this with you before. We obsess, this, and a lot of people watching will. We obsess first and foremost about our customers. They give us life. They are our sun. Just quietly, I wish there was a little bit more in Auckland the last few days because I'm not a lot of tannings happening. But Timely is successful because our customers are. Hashtag Timely Life, work and life, rather than competing priorities, technology's changed that for us. So really striking a balance between work life, bringing your whole self to work, as we've talked about already, and finally executing like a boss. And I absolutely love this. When Ryan shared this value with me before I joined Timely, I was immediately excited, executing little bits and pieces here and there. It's hard, but it's so rewarding. And we're human, in a salon context, all of the above looks different. I get that. But it's easy when you practice in it, and occasionally it might even involve taking a risk. What could they potentially add to your business if you were to look at a different workforce? And I know in the beauty industry, we look at youth and sometimes that's a preference, but what if we looked at an older candidate that's had 20 years experience, but would get overlooked because we're looking at someone, you know what I'm saying? So age bias does play out in the industry. I know this because I spend a lot of time in the hair and beauty world. But that old adage saying that we do say, and I hear a lot in business, is that we don't know what we don't know. Well, it's 2021, and I do think the time is now to act. Truly, I do.
There's obviously been big shifts in how we all are looking at our businesses over the last 12 months. We've had this big pause. More so here than over in your country, and
yes.
we have had days sitting at home looking at how we move forward in our businesses, and when we reopen the doors, what do we want our businesses to look like? This has been the conversation that we've been having in industry, and now is the time more than ever to have a better understanding, to take that time to start educating ourselves a little more on diversity, understanding what that means, how that can look in our business. How can we as salon owners benefit from this? How can this help our businesses to grow and move forward, would you say, Mary?
I mean, the added saying around, while you can't be in your business, be on the outside and look in, right? I think the industry is all about customers. And recognizing their wants and their needs and identifying how best to cater for them. Your customers are likely to also be from a diverse group of people. And if they aren't, perhaps you're missing the beat. And by having a diverse team, you're better able to connect with your customers, provide them with an environment where they feel comfortable and give them the service that they want. And, my husband is a middle-aged white male, and he's terrible when it comes to going to a hair salon. He's not got one regular. It does my head in. But if he can't see someone relatable working in a salon, he just won't go in. And how many customers are there out there that do that, that identify if they don't identify with a member of staff in a salon, they then maybe think to themselves, well, that place won't cater to my needs. I'll keep looking or go somewhere else, you know, and these are missed opportunities. And although, you know, you can't have one of every type of person in the lands, all across the lands working for you, I get that. If customers see, though, a team of rich and vibrant, varied folk, they themselves will feel more accepted and more comfortable, because let's face it, the hair and beauty world is incredibly personal. You know, I was thinking, as I was thinking about this chat earlier today, you know, across the multitude, I say multitude, the many people that have made the village up that make this all possible, it's a really invading environment, you know, from the injectables to the blading on the brows to the, you know, and so who are those people that the customer's looking back at? I think we need to think about that, and we need to be conscious when we have the ability to make those calls with what a salon makeup looks like.
Absolutely. I mean, going back, you know, in its most basic form, I know there is a lot of resistance for people who used to walk into a salon once upon a time and feel intimidated by the people that were working in there, because they were maybe all very youthful, very beautifully made up, and they were incredibly uncomfortable walking in.
I can firsthand relate to this. Exactly. It isn't intimidating, and it's probably not even, to be honest with you, my experience, it's not been intentional. Like they're not of course, why would they be? Why would a salon be intentionally not wanting a customer to walk in the door? But they've just not given it that lens.
Yes.
And, you know, again, if I can say, I've had the same hairdresser for many, many years. He is a huge part of my life. And it's so important that he knows this, and I share this with him regularly, but also, you know, salons inadvertently worry more about perhaps the look and the feel of the place without really digging deep. And that's the call out that I'm asking of, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. Because as you say, you know, you can walk in and there can be an element of barrier between you and those staff in that business. And if you, like you said, if you don't connect with anybody in there, if you don't associate, then that might not be the salon that you choose to go to. And as we are in a more diverse world, people are becoming more comfortable being their true authentic selves. We need to be able to ensure they feel welcome to walk into our businesses, because, you know, every single person is a valued customer, providing they walk into the salon and treat our businesses with respect as well. That should really be the only barrier that's in place. Absolutely, that we respect each other on every different level. And I think every salon owner has probably seen it on both sides. I saw it at the very, very beginning. I recruited somebody and within a very short period of time, she made an incredibly racist comment, and I had to remove her from my team because there was just no way I could move forward with somebody like that in my business. And I think this is such a key thing. We have to watch it from every level, but educate our staff as well about the importance of diversity when it comes to our team, but also our clients.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I've sat in salons and actually called, like, I have sat in an Australian salon in Melbourne and heard how another customer 2 bays over from me, like, went off unnecessarily at the salon. She was going to take her to the basin, and it was a very busy salon. It was 4 o'clock on a Friday. Everyone was, you know, getting their blow waves and their curls and whatnot. I had to say to the woman that was doing my hair, and I got a lot of hair to do, and I was running late, not my fault, theirs. You just got to have a breath. Do you want your hair looking great or not? But say, do we need to do something about this woman? And calling out bad behavior is something that I encourage. It's a difficult thing to do, but I respect is key for me. Respect is key for me. And regardless of whether it's a hospitality environment, a salon environment, a work environment, whether whoever, whatever, however, on an airplane, there is absolutely no need to be disrespectful. It's not good.
Absolutely. 100% agree. And I think everybody watching would agree with this as well. So for those who are watching right now, who are thinking, I feel like I need to understand more. I need to learn more about diversity. I need to learn more about inclusion. I have a business, I have a team. My doors are going to reopen in 5 weeks, and I want to do that in the most positive way possible. Where can they start? How can they start to implement this and have a better understanding? Is there somewhere they can go for resources, or is there somewhere they can go to start educating themselves better, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, there is so much information available literally on the internet, and I'm not one to call out on the internet very often, but there is a lot of information, starter packs on where to, resource kits on how to. But I think actually it starts at home, where you come as a salon owner to think, what does good look like for your salon? How do you want your people to feel? And be asking those questions to yourself. What does good look like? How do you want your people to feel? And what is the lasting impression you want to give on your customer? And how do we want to ensure that they feel like they belong? Absolutely. I think so much, if we talk about authenticity and uniqueness, those are all really important values we hold in business, right? And how they look for me is around acceptance,
Yeah.
welcoming the whole person. And, every single person in the world wants to be seen and heard. Yes. Every single person. And I would imagine, and I'm stab in the dark, and you've done lots of these lives, how many people get off your interviews and ask you whether they were okay? Did they do a good job? Was it all right? Yeah, yes. I'm sure people do. Yeah. And we just all want validation. It's ultimately what being authentic and cultivating a culture of inclusion, what that's all about. And I think for salons who want to make that lasting impression, not just on their people, but on their customer, they need to probably step back. And I think that, like I said, what's your why? What does good look like? How do you want your people to feel? How do you want your customer to feel? Those are some of the key takeaway questions. And, over my life, I've experienced what exclusion is like. It's, quite a bit. And actually valuing your people and what they have to offer. Your people are your asset, your customers are as well. And without them, you don't have a business, right? So, absolutely. Yeah, that's probably how I'd navigate that. And perhaps back on the conversation about authenticity and true self, why would you want half a person to come into work? You'd want the whole version of them, right? And enable them to share thinking and value your suggestions. And otherwise you're wasting your time and talent and ability. And the trick for managers and owners, I think, is to translate these into contributions, into workable, beneficial outputs to allow the business to grow on having a diverse team. Yeah.
How could you ever expect somebody to give 100% to their role if they don't bring 100% of themselves? Quite simply. Yeah. Now we've only got 5 minutes left, so I have to ask.
Tell me.
About the big Oprah.
Yes.
I mean, I know everybody will be desperate to hear this, and I'm going to be sharing this interview with all of our community, of which there are 5,000, because I think this is an incredibly important message. But I do want to just hear about your Oprah interview as well, because that to me is just incredible. And I figure because now I've met you and you've met her, that I kind of, in some kind of loose way, I kind of
2 degrees of separation. Well, of course, Oprah is she's in the headlines about this whole Harry and Meghan thing right at the moment. So the interview is being televised in New Zealand right now. So I'm not watching that interview. I'm here chatting with you, which is way more appealing for me, to be fair. That came about, Oprah came to New Zealand in 2015. She came to New Zealand to do, she closed down the Oprah show. We all cried. She had a year off, and then through her Harpo production, she did a tour around the place, an evening with Oprah. And I managed to, just through people who knows people who knows people, because it's New Zealand and everybody knows everybody. I mean, it's just how it is here. I managed to navigate it some time. So I spent 13 minutes with her one-on-one, to be exact. And yeah, you know, I knew that I had a very finite period of time. I did not want to go goo goo gaga over her. I did not want to cry in front of her, even though I was scared. And I shared the story of why I genuinely love Oprah. It was a personal story, and just as you would expect her to do, there was an instant connection. There was a bit of a musty blurriness in both our eyes, and she got it. She understood why it was that I loved her and why she was a significant part of my life and why I've seen her as an idol. And the conversation was pretty free flowing, and it was amazing. And she, you know, what are some of the questions people have asked me? Her hair didn't have any smell. It was a very odd thing. She didn't wear any perfume, which I was semi-horrified about. Those that know me know I like drown myself in perfume. But incredibly humble and lovely. And she did get in touch with me when she came, but well, she didn't, her team did, when she came to New Zealand 2 years after to do the movie in Queenstown. But, you know, I was unavailable, obviously, and we didn't reconnect. And no, we don't follow each other on any social media. She doesn't follow anybody, but yeah, I have a massive photo of her and I in my stairwell, and I look at it most mornings. Like the little bit of a weirdo that I am. And it does, you know, wonderful memories like that help create your thinking in many ways. And to have met your idol is pretty amazing. So yeah, that was a one-off. My husband has made sure that that's probably never going to happen again, because if we want to do that, she's, you know, yeah, probably never will happen again. But
say you should never meet your idols in case they disappoint, but I'm happy to hear that Oprah certainly did not disappoint.
She didn't. And just on that, I know that you've got a passion to want to build your business that is outside of our timely world, which is amazing. But I still want to say, I think you've got the meat in the game, and Ellen DeGeneres is like ready. And you know, when you've met Ellen, call me and we'll get you over to meet Oprah. It's going to happen.
Fabulous. That would be fabulous, wouldn't it? We do hope to be over in New Zealand next year. We do actually have friends in Christchurch, so we will be making our way over there at some point. I used to live in Melbourne time, so we'll be heading that way as soon as we are allowed. It's very much on the agenda. So Mary, it's been absolutely fabulous having you here.
You too. Today.
It's been wonderful meeting you. I'm sure the audience are going to have fallen in love with you as much as I have, with just so much wonderful, valuable content to share, with such an incredibly important message that you're delivering, and you're doing it in such an incredible way with such grace. And to have gone through the journey that you have, and to stand up and to help other people recognize that, it's just incredibly powerful. And I have no doubt that you are going to even further enhance the wonder that is timely. And the quicker we can get this wonderful message out into the UK via this brand, the absolute better. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you, everybody, coming and joining us here today. We appreciate you. Everybody's loving your bring your whole self to work. I think everyone's going to carry that away with them, for themselves as much as for their team as well. So important. We all embrace this. We all bring our full self to work, and we give our businesses 100%, our team 100%, and our clients, and we are 100% authentically ourselves. So Mary, it's been wonderful having you. We're going to say goodbye to our audience now. Thank you everybody for joining us. And we'll see you all again. I'll be back again next week at the normal time of 10:30. And I'll look forward to seeing you all next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.